Hey ProGrow family, I'm Stephanie with social media with ProGrow Partners. Today for our training, we're going to talk about our Container Fest. I have our wonderful assistant Travis here, who is going to help us so that when you go to Container Fest this weekend, you feel like the expert, you feel confident, you know what to do, what to say, how to answer questions. And if you come up with more questions, let us know and we'll make sure to address those so that on Saturday, you feel comfortable, confident, and it's a great experience for everyone. So what we're going to start out, Travis is going to talk a little bit about, you probably have seen, especially if you've been to our social media sites, we talked a lot about thrillers, spillers, fillers, but Travis is going to talk about, because I think for a lot of people, especially as our customers come in, they can feel very overwhelmed of where to even start. I see what these containers look like, I see the end product, I know what I want it to look like, but how do I get there? And that is where you're going to use your expertise to help our customers come in, feel comfortable asking questions and not feel stupid asking questions, and going away with something they absolutely love. So Travis is going to talk a little bit about just that, fillers, fillers, growers, and then we're going to go into some different recipes that you can help recommend to your customers, or just to give you some ideas, get those minds thinking.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. Alrighty, team. So I want to talk a little bit today about some of the different growth habits of the plants. This is the key thing that's important when we're trying to work with our customers out there in the garden centers, is to helping them understand the growth habits. So what I've done right here is I've grabbed a few examples of what I consider a thriller, a filler, and a spiller, okay? Now, anybody can interpret things a lot of different ways. This is just based on how I would explain it to folks, that anytime, if you're trying to put a container garden together, which is what we'll show some examples of you today, you're gonna want at least 2 out of 3 items. You're gonna want some thrillers, something that pops way up and is kind of showy. You're gonna want some fillers, something that fills in that pot all around it. And then you're gonna want some spillers. And those spillers is kind of what drapes over the side of those pots. Now, there's a lot of different combinations, there's a lot of different plants that you can use, but the key thing is just understanding you can either use all 3 of those items, or you can use just 1 of those items, or you can use 2 of those items. It's completely up to the customer. The important thing is to listen and see, number 1, where are they gonna be putting their container? Number 2, what kind of look are they looking for? And number 3, being able to recommend using your expertise to make the magic happen, right? So what I'd like to point out is our spillers. The spillers are plants that have growth habits that like to grow up and then they like to tip over kind of like this. I've used an asparagus fern, and I've also used a myrtle blue. Myrtle blue is a typical ground cover, but you can still use it as a container as part of your spiller program. As you can see right now, it has a beautiful spilling habit right now. So the customer is really easy. They can see that this is a spiller really easy just based off the growth habit that you see inside the pot. The asparagus fern likes to grow up a little bit and then it starts to kind of taper down. This is a good prime opportunity to kind of explain the growth habit of an asparagus fern. Okay, so these are kind of like your spillers. Now if you move into your fillers, the fillers, those plants are the ones that fill in around the pot itself. They kind of close in all those gaps and make it look nice and pretty. The examples that I've used as fillers is your Gerber Daisy. The classic Gerber Daisy is will fill in that pot and it'll pop with those flowers all around. It's just a good overall filler. The other one I really like are the Proven Winner. These are called the Supertunias. These Supertunias are really aggressive. They fill in, they mound out really nice. Then over time they may start to drape a little bit, but that's just part of the growth habit. It's an excellent filler whenever you're trying to put together a container garden. The next one that I really like is the Diamond Frost and Euphorbia, which is another Proven Winner item. This is something that's really perfect about filling those little hidden gaps. You can definitely use this in a lot of different variety of recipes that we use, but overall it's real pretty. It has these really showy white flowers. They're teeny tiny, but they really pack a punch once they get growing. The thriller aspect of it, there's a couple different ones. We've got Dracaena spikes. You can use, Dracaena spike is a very rigid grass that you can use. We can also use Pennisetum grass, which is more of the plumes and they're colorful. But anything that's gonna grow upright and make it really nice and showy and eye-catching. So that's kind of the combination. You've got the thriller, the filler, and the spiller. So that's a good way to be able to kind of to work with your folks and help them understand, what it is that you're looking for. So if you're working with containers and your customer says, I don't want spillers, no problem. You can just take your spillers out and you've got a filler and a thriller. Somebody might sit there and say, I don't want the thriller. So you can go ahead and you can put together a filler and a spiller combo. Or they can sit there and say, I don't want any spillers either, so you can do a nice filler program. Either way, it's up to them. You can customize it. The magic is beautiful because there's no wrong or right way of putting together a nice, beautiful recipe for that customer.
Wonderful. Thanks, Travis. So one thing, especially for a new customer coming in, they might come in and look for things that are pretty, right? They might come and just grab a whole bunch of things that I want this in a pot. But a couple of things this is a perfect time to take just to teach them about the flowers. So having them just look at it and say, hey, where, if Travis is our customer, Travis, where are you wanting to put this container?
Well, for me, I'd like to put it on my front porch.
Okay, do you get a lot of sun there, or do you only get a little bit of sun there?
So I get morning sun and afternoon shade.
Okay, so Travis, let's look at that. So if you get half and half, what would you recommend? Part or full?
So with me, I think you could go one of two different ways. As long as you get 6 hours worth of sunlight, you're okay to go full sun. But if you've got less hours than that, less sunlight hours, you may want to try to find tags that say part sun. So for example, this Gerber daisy says part sun on it, which means that you can get away with 6 hours or less. You want to keep it around 4 to 6 hours. That is what's considered part sun. But if you have something that's full shade, you want to get into something like your coleus, or you want to get into items that are strictly bred to just be in the shade. But with that, you can't go wrong with either going part shade or part sun or full sun.
Awesome. So that is a perfect opportunity to just sit with them and tell them, okay, do you get 6 hours or more? It helps them really think about where they're putting it, and is this a smart choice? Is this something that's going to last? Or am I setting myself up for failure? And that's what we want. We want them to feel confident in these products, in these containers that they're building, because it's going to give them more confidence to come into the garden center themselves and try it on their own and have a little bit of fun with it. Another resource you can also direct them to is you can direct them to our social media, both on Instagram and on our Home Depot Facebook page. We have lots of examples there. If they're really not sure where to start, have them just go on there and look, and then they can show you a picture of, I really like this style, and then you'll be able to help them. So that's a perfect opportunity to just start with, all right, where is it going? All right, look at the tag. The yellow tag, say full sun. Pick all yellow plants, or all yellow full yellow, not yellow plants, we don't want yellow plants in here. Put all full sun together, don't mix and match. But starting with that simple tip is going to give them the opportunity to feel confident with their containers.
Awesome. The key thing here, guys, is to make sure that we're delivering a positive customer experience. We want them to know that we are the experts in the field and that they can go to ProGrow with any of their answers, and we'll always give them the most up-to-date expert advice to help them be successful in the garden. That is our ultimate goal. So, all right, well, what do you think? Should we get started and show some of the basics?
Let's get started. So we're going to start with something very, very simple. We're going to start with an indoor succulent. Something small that's going to go inside. And that's another question you might ask them is this going to go inside or outside? Some people that come might have no clue where they're even putting this. They might just know that I'm coming here because I want a beautiful container. So ask those empowering questions, because the people that are standing around, they're going to be able to take that information with them as well.
So what's beautiful about what we're about to show you is, how many people have you ever come across at the garden center that says, you know what, I kill everything. It's okay, we've got just the plant for you. One of those plants that we can really utilize that really does not need a lot of care, in fact, the more you ignore it, the better it does, is your succulent. These are these nice little 2-inch succulents that we found inside the Home Depot itself. What's cool about this is the succulents rarely need water. All they need is good sunny window, and they'll continue to be happy for the rest of your year. You don't have to worry about water, maybe about once a month, or if you conveniently think about it, then that's when you may give them just a few drops of water, half a cup of water, in a container about this size, okay? So what we did is we just chose three 2-inch little succulent gardens, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put it together. So the first step is, when you're doing the container fest, is you wanna go ahead and fill up your pot, at least, in this situation, you wanna go at least 3/4 of the way, okay? So right below that little soil line. You wanna be able to leave the soil just a little bit below that mark. I don't know if you guys can see that in the video or not, but you wanna be able to have some room to put in the succulents itself, and you want the soil to kind of fall below the pot so that when you do water, the water doesn't spill over the pot, it actually soaks inside, okay? So I'm gonna take just a little bit out, no offense to you, I think you did a wonderful job. But the first thing that I like to do is I like to find the one that sticks up the most. So this I would consider my thriller, okay? So I would definitely put that in just like that, right there on the back side. This would kind of be a little filler right up in there, and here comes another filler right here, okay? Now, once that's done, once you have the soil 3/4 of the way up and you've got the pots in, then you want to come in and you want to just go ahead and just fill in those little bit of gaps that you have, just to kind of lock in these little plants that you put in these little succulents. And it's okay, don't worry about getting soil on the ground, it's going to be just fine. We like to get dirty at work. All right, just like that. And voila! Nice little pretty succulent garden ready to go, okay? Stephanie, do you want to tell them the kind of how-to care tips once they get this home?
Okay, so once they get home with it, the one thing you're going to want to talk to them a bit about is how much to water. So with this one, you know, like Travis said, he said about 1/2 cup, water it, let it just sit out. So the succulents are probably going to be the easiest of all the containers that they're going to do. And then we'll talk about each one, about the watering on each one as we go.
So awesome. So this one, any succulent requires minimal amount of water. This is for the people that claim that they kill every plant, which we're going to turn them into experts, and they're going to make every plant bloom and grow and be happy. But this is a great, easy for beginners, a great way to just get it started. Okay? All right, shall we move down a little bit? Or actually, you want to do the Gerber?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you handle it.
All right, so this is going to be for those people that just say, I just want one plant in it, and that is okay. So same thing, we're gonna start out, we're gonna fill it up. I'm gonna grab the plant out.
Yeah. Now, if I may add here, Stephanie, one thing you want to do is every once in a while you may come across some plants that are pretty root bound, which means that the roots themselves are starting to go into a circular pattern. If that's the case, you just go ahead and you can just break them up a little bit. It's not going to kill the plant. It's actually healthy for the plant, and it allows it opportunity to break out of the growing in the circular motion by breaking it, and it forces the roots to go down, and that's kind of what you're looking for.
And that's once again another great teaching moment. I got so happy. Another great teaching moment that you can share with your customers. It's going to make them feel very empowered to know, you know, just those little tips that maybe then when their friends ask, they feel like they have some gardening tips to share.
Now, the other important thing, guys, is once you put the plants into the container, don't be scared to invite them to keep the tag. Because a lot of the times when people have good positive experiences, they want to repeat that the next year. So a lot of customers, believe it or not, like to keep the tags. So make sure that whenever we put the containers together, to put that tag back in there so that the customer knows what plant that they have in there. So the other key thing in regards to this one, how to water, what was the tip that I shared with you earlier?
So 10 seconds per gallon.
So this right here is not quite a full gallon, so you're probably looking at 3/4 of a gallon. So if that's the case, how long should you water?
It's about 3-4 seconds.
Okay. All right. So that's the trick here is once we've got it put together, invite the customer to go home and make sure the rule of thumb is fill it up with water until you see water trickle out at the bottom. Let it sit for a little while, give it an hour or two, and just give it one more light watering, and you should be good to go. All right. So that right there is a beautiful filler Gerber daisy.
I love it. And I love Travis's tip about sharing with them about their tags. If they love what they created, tell them, you know, create a little folder, put all your tags together so that the next year you feel successful and you can start from where you left off.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. So
2 down. 97 more to go. Don't worry, guys. This is a short video. It's only going to be 19 hours long. I'm just playing. My goodness. All right.
All right, you want to tell them a little bit about this one?
Okay, so customers may bring their pots home, and that's perfectly fine. We invite them to do that. They don't always have to buy the pots that we have at the garden centers at the Home Depot. They may bring the container that they had last year because they really liked it. We are perfectly fine with that. And this is a good opportunity to go ahead and just follow the basic steps. Fill it up 3/4 of the way. And you wanna do that? Awesome, that's perfect right there. Okay, now in this situation, what you guys can see is we've got a Dracaena spike, we've got a few ferns right here, and we've definitely got some pretty aggressive petunias, okay? So the best way to work around that is we're gonna wanna put the Dracaena spike right in the center, okay? So that Dracaena spike is gonna be kind of your thriller. There you go. Michael Jackson style, right? So, all right, then we wanna take, I gotta grab one more of these. Okay, here's a good opportunity. You can see how the roots have really spiraled out of control on that root ball. You wanna go ahead and just kind of rip that bottom off. It's not gonna hurt it, it's actually doing it a favor. It's like trimming your fingernails off your hand. Okay, so generally we wanna kind of go opposite of each other or like in a triangle pattern. Anytime you've got a round pot, you want to be able to spread the contents out. You never want to put it side by side and then have this big gap right here. You want to go opposite of each other or in a triangle pattern. Hopefully that makes sense. You can see once again, you got a spiral root ball. So we can get a little bit more soil right there, Steph. When we put that Dracaena spike in, I'm going to grab one more petunia. Excuse me. All right. So we're gonna do this triangle pattern here. So 1, 2. So you can see I've got a a petunia here, and a petunia here. So it's a triangle pattern. That's exactly how you want your fillers to be. Then after that, you can go ahead and you can add either 2 to 3 of your fillers. It's not a big deal. Here we're using an asparagus fern. You can go ahead, pop that right in there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and fill in the gaps with the remaining, with some soil there. Tags in there. All right. Here. Now in this situation, this plant is definitely going to want to be watered for more than 10 seconds. You've probably got a good 3-gallon pot, maybe 4-gallon here. So how long would you want to water that?
40 seconds.
40 seconds. There you go. All right.
Get your mouth skills out there.
So, now, if the customer sees that it's kind of drooping over a little bit like that, just tell them that's normal. You know, the plant is now going through what's called transplant shock. As soon as you get water on it and as soon as you put it in a nice, sunny, warm area, it's going to pop right back and start moving. So you'll be fine. All right.
That's a great thing. And especially if you all have any maybe questions or feedback of things that in the past people have asked, make sure to post in our Facebook group what questions or any tips so that we can learn and grow off of each other. All right, so our next one we're going to start with that same spike in the middle as our thriller. Want to fill this up with soil?
I will gladly fill this up with soil.
So remember the rule of thumb, 3/4 full. Then we're going to stick that spike, that thriller right in the middle. So use each time you create any of your pots, talk through what you're doing, because the more they hear it, the easier it's going to be for them to go out and do it all on their own. Okay, so remember, we put our spike in the middle, our thriller in the middle, and then we're going to do that triangle. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to do that triangle.
So just one little side tip here, guys. If you see like a dying leaf here, just go ahead and pluck that off. That just makes it look a lot fresher. If you see some dead flowers in there, go ahead and deadhead that. We want this container to look nice and fresh for the customer when they take it home. All right, there's that one. And you can see I'm leaving the tag in there.
What are the
Stir it up
benefits
everything.
of taking off if there are some dying leaves?
So the benefit is number one, it's just the look. You want it to look nice and fresh. And anytime you have like a dead leaf or a dying leaf, like for example, like right here, you can see just a little bit of yellowing, a little bit of salt burn right here. That doesn't necessarily mean that the plant is dead. It just means that it's shedding some of its old foliage. And it's good practice for us to just put that all together and make it look nice and fresh. So, all right, the other one right here. Then from there, I got the tag, loosening up those bottom roots. Then from there, we would fill in the gaps with soil. Pretty simple. And you've got a really nice, go ahead. You've got a really nice container, Dracaena spike, geranium, and asparagus fern container for you.
All perfect for full sun.
All right.
Beautiful. All right, up next. Are y'all getting excited for Saturday?
Okay, so tell me a little bit, Stephanie, if a customer says, I need something for the shade, let's talk a little bit about that. How would we put a shade container garden?
All right, so the first step, if someone's looking for shade, is for them to make sure that the plants that they have gotten is part sun. Okay, that's probably the most important thing. And the more you teach them, the more you tell them that, the easier it's going to be for them to remember that all the information that they need is on these tags. And don't be afraid to reiterate it. It seems like, probably for a lot of you, it seems like common sense to look at the tags. But for a lot of these customers coming in, they are already so overwhelmed because in their head they think they know what they want, but then they get into the garden center and they have so many choices that they're overwhelmed. So take that as a teaching point over and over and over again of just all the information you need is on the tag. All the information about watering, the height, all that stuff is on that tag. Teach them that so that they can go away and feel successful.
So if I'm a customer that wants to put together a shade container garden, but I don't want a thriller, these Regal begonias and the euphorbias are an excellent choice for a shade container garden that you put on your porch that has afternoon shade. It has high impact color. You can see these Regal begonias are absolutely gorgeous. I love those flowers on there. Stephanie is once again putting it into a triangle pattern. And these are our nice Vigoro Premium Annual, so you know that you're going to get your bang for your buck out of this. So, 1, 2. Oh no, what should we do when we've got a gap in the middle?
Well, you have
I actually set Stephanie up on this one.
well, you could one thing you can do if you get them there and they have what they think that they picked out is going to be sufficient, give them some options. So what are some options? You could tell them, all right, you want to put a thriller in there, or let's just fill in the gaps with what we already have. So we're going to take those same plants and tell them, all right, hey, go get a couple more. And we're going to stick those in. So remember, you do not have to have that thriller if that's not what your customer wants.
Now what I've done is we kind of go away from the triangle pattern. On the edges you want to stick with the triangle pattern. In the center you want to do 2 of your most showiest plant and then the third just kind of a filler. So what you can see right here, what I did is I put in 2 Regal begonias and then I put in euphorbia right there in front of it. That just kind of helps fill in that gap. From there, you just gotta kind of adjust everything, make it look real nice and pretty, okay? And nice and full. And from there, it's gonna look a little, little gappy, but once these begonias start filling in and the euphorbia starts filling in, we could probably get away with putting in. Woo! Look at that. One more right in there. How about that?
And remember to share with them that if there's a little bit of space, don't let them forget that it's gonna grow.
Exactly. That's
and
a good
I think
point.
that's a scary thing for a lot of people, and you see people do it all the time when they're planting trees, planting shrubs, is that they want to pack the space full, but tell them, don't forget, you want to leave it some room to grow and blow. All right, I love it.
Okay, nice, beautiful shade container. All right. Okay. Now, we do have some customers that do like indoor pots.
Correct. So let's start out with where you're gonna find indoor plants.
We're gonna find the indoor plants inside the actual Home Depot itself. You'll see a section of it where it's got all the tropicals and indoor foliage and indoor color. Prime opportunity for customers that just want to have something that they want to put on the middle of their kitchen table. They want to put it on, you know, kind of a windowsill somewhere. This is a good opportunity to cross merchandise. Also the indoor color as well. It's not just outdoor color that we want to promote everybody's color. And this is a good opportunity to promote some indoor. So, same concept, no different. Fill it up about 3/4 of the way, full of soil. Now, in this case, this is kind of an interesting scenario. You've got a green pothos right here that really has a mounding and trailing look, and you've got some ivy right here that really likes to trail, and you've got a kalanchoe. So there's only 3, and you've got kind of a smaller pot. So the best way to handle this is you want to put kind of your trailer right there at the front, and you want to kind of put your mounding item. And what I like to do in this situation, and I'll just kind of show you. Stir up those roots a little bit. Because this has a very aggressive mounding up, you're okay if you kind of stick it sideways just a little bit. What I'm doing is instead of putting the actual plant upright like this, just angle it a little bit so it actually kind of helps push the plant out through the side of it. Then that gives a kalanchoe just a little bit more of an impact. Just like that. And now you've got a nice little indoor potted container that can fill in these gaps right here. What do you think, Stephanie?
I love it.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to remind them that they can do indoor pots too. They might go to get there on Saturday and just be thinking outdoors, but maybe even ask them, hey, do you have a spot inside that you're wanting to fill? Don't be afraid to, I want to say upsell, but show them the different opportunities that they have, because a lot of people might not even think about it.
Right. These are perfect for if you've got family members that live in nursing homes or senior care facilities. They love this kind of stuff. This is perfect for that gift. If somebody either in the hospital, somebody in nursing homes, so on and so forth. Prime opportunity to cross merchandise indoor color.
Also, Teacher Appreciation Week is that first week in May, so this is the perfect opportunity as well to get a teacher something a little different than maybe what you usually get. All right, our next one.
Okay.
Give me some soil.
Absolutely love it. So
All right.
Stephanie, if you've got, what kind of example of a container are we planting here?
We are using the geraniums, which are
Fillers.
and then who remembers, our Gerber daisies are
Fillers.
filler. So remember, that's okay. So we have those geraniums. Let's pop those out. We're gonna do that trial now. That was great.
And we're taking these old
Revolta.
leaves off.
And don't be afraid to just make yourself some notes too of just, okay, make sure I do a triangle, or take off any yellow leaves, break up the root wall, any of those things. Don't be afraid to just write them down and have yourself a little checklist.
Okay. Now, is there anything wrong with this container?
No, it's beautiful.
Absolutely not. This is what's awesome about what we do every day in the industry, is that there's really no right way, wrong way. If the customer thinks it's beautiful, then that's exactly what we want. Once again, we just fill in the gaps.
And I know that you all are going to be busy on Saturday, putting pots together, things like that, but if you get the opportunity, tell your customers, take pictures of their containers. take pictures and they can tag us actually on Facebook with ContainerFest 2019, hashtag ContainerFest 2019, or they can actually message us their containers, and we would love to showcase. All right, I love this next container that we are gonna be doing. We are definitely gonna have that thriller, filler, spiller aspect to it. So we're gonna start out, right? We're gonna start out with,
Canna lily.
well, no. Tricks for getting this out.
All right, so I actually did this on purpose. Sometimes, you know, we do a fantastic job, I'm sorry, the growers do a fantastic job of bringing in product that's already in nice decorative pots. Sometimes the customer, it's a good opportunity for us to upsell, hey, this would be perfect inside a bigger container because it's gonna get real aggressive and put out a lot of huge flowers for you. You might wanna consider maybe putting it into a, what do we think this is, 6-7 gallon pot? So if that's the case, if you can upsell it, hey, that's awesome. That's what we like to do, right? So the trick is, flip it over, loosen that root ball up a little bit. Up here, and loosen it, it's not gonna hurt it. And we'll flip it over. Okay. From there, you wanna go ahead and explain?
Yes, so we're gonna take our Gerbers, we're gonna put them on all four. Okay, so we're gonna go every other. Now that pot that we just took, it is a beautiful decorative pot already. So especially if someone picks out a pot that is beautiful, ask them if they want to pick out plants to fill the pot that they just,
Purchase.
purchased. Thank you.
Cool.
And don't be afraid to ask them for help. If you're getting stuff in there and you want someone to just, hey, just hold that up there, let them be involved in this process because they're going to be feeling so empowered and so proud of the product that they came up with. And give them some of that credit of, oh, I love what you came up with. All those things are going to make them feel more confident in their gardening and make them more confident coming into the garden center and asking for help. They're going to see that ProGrow shirt and know that they can ask you for help, and they're not going to feel dumb or unknowledgeable. Right?
That's right.
I think a lot of people do come in and are afraid to ask questions because they might think that they're silly questions. And make sure that they know that it's okay to ask questions. That's how they get better at their gardening skills. And don't be afraid to try something new and have fun.
It's all about skills that kills, okay? Not the plants though. It's about your ability to be able to convey the information and get them excited about gardening. Because I mean, look at that.
Beautiful.
Is that not cool or what? This was an upgraded canna lily, asparagus fern, and your orange Gerber daisies, all found here at Home Depot. This is the kind of impact that you want to have with the customers. Don't forget to fill in the gaps with extra soil. We never, ever, ever want to send a container with a customer where we have not filled in the gaps. Don't forget to make sure that we leave the tag in by the plant itself so that if the customer ever has a question as to what it is, or they want to brag about it to their friends and their friends like, oh my goodness, I want to get that. They're able to share that information. Come to the local depot, find our awesome ProGrow team and say, you just sold it to my neighbor and I want the same exact thing. And then you're gonna say, well, what did it look like? And they're gonna say, hey, we tagged it on Facebook, right?
And
see how this all works, right?
Encourage them to share on Facebook. And a lot of people might think that's silly, but people are gonna be inspired by someone else's work and want that same thing. The other cool thing about this is that coral color is the color of the season. So that's why these beautiful Gerber daisies will absolutely add a beautiful pop and a very trendy pop if you have to have someone that's looking for something a little trendy.
That's right. Okay.
I love it.
Okay, we got the tag in there, we got the soil in there, we've got an amazing container. I hope you guys are feeling confident that you can knock this out of the park this weekend with all of our customers at the home.
Okay, so grab that pot real quick.
Which one? This one?
Yes. Okay, so this is what our lily just came out of. So let's look at this. It's a beautiful pot. Travis,
Yeah.
you grab us something for that.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna say, hey, you have that pot you just emptied. Let's fill it with something. Is there something else that's out there in the garden center that you absolutely love? I love the drop and decorate. Those look perfect to just stick in there. I'm going to add a little bit of soil. These, the nice thing is you don't have to add much soil to them. You care which one?
I know. No, I just got a selection.
All right, so we're just gonna stick that in there, break up the root ball a little bit, flip it over, and look how simple. We're gonna fill in the end, stick in that tag, and boom, you are set. But you just upsold them on something else that they probably did not even think of. Don't let them throw away those decorative pots that they already purchased. Encourage them to find somewhere else to put that pot. All right, another beautiful option.
So this is our last one for the training. And I'm really excited about this one because I'm going to show you a trick. Okay? This is when you know you're in the big leagues, when you share this trick with your customers. That looks really nice. Okay. Let's say we've got a customer that has a really nice urn style pot and they want it kind of showy and flashy for a party that they're having this weekend, right? The good way to sell it is to sell them a drop and decorate. Okay, you can find this at your local Home Depot. It's a full sun. You want to be able to try to sell 2 to 3 of these, which I've got 3 examples of right here. Okay, and you want to try to sell a thriller, which is a Dracaena spike that would go right here in the center. Now, the question is, the pot's a little narrow, okay? That's okay. First thing you want to do is you want to make sure you get your Dracaena spike right there in the center. All right. So right there in the middle. Then you want to take your first drop-in bloom. Now, you may think I am totally murdering the plant, but I'm not, okay? What you want to do is you want to split that root ball just like this, okay? See how I'm kind of creating a gap right here in the center? That's going to fit right there in the center of that pot. No harm, doesn't hurt the plant, they actually appreciate it. All you're doing is separating the roots and making it fit inside a pot or a container that's a little bit smaller, but they want it to be extra showy, okay? And here's option number 2.
So you're opening it just like a book, leaving that one end intact.
And number 3, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm just opening it right down the center. Okay? See how I'm creating that gap right there in that center? You fill it in right there. And oh my holy wow, would you look at that? That is a showy container ready for the weekend party. How about that? Man, I might have to buy this one. So, okay guys, so there we are. You guys are now experts at how to put together container gardens. The few tips that you always want to remember is you're looking for the thrillers, the fillers, and the spillers. Make sure you understand the growth habits of those. And Stephanie, what about the tags?
And then we're gonna make sure we look at the tags, make sure if it is part sun or full sun, you're sticking with all the same thing. Ask your customer where that pot is gonna be going, and then make sure after you help them with that combo pot, make sure you take the tag off, stick it in with that plant so that they can save that. And maybe just even tell them, hey, if you love your pot, save your tag so that you know for next year.
That's right. And don't forget to upsell. It doesn't hurt to try to upsell. If you see somebody that's got a really nice showy container, try to upsell it with a drop and decorate bloom. You guys have learned a nice little trick on how to fill it to make it look nice and classy and showy, ready for a party over the weekend. Or if you want that customer that's just wanting to watch something grow nice and pretty over the summertime, you've definitely got this opportunity right here to put in a nice upgraded pot into the center, filling gerbers and asparagus on the side. Also, if they just want something simple, you've got a nice filler. This will eventually, these calabacos are absolutely gorgeous. It's my favorite flower. They'll mound up and start to spill over. They're absolutely amazing to watch. Or something that you can have this on your sunny windowsill of a succulent that somebody claims they kill all their plants. They won't kill these, I can guarantee that. So or even a Gerber daisy, something that's cute, simple, fun to do with your kids. This is all the expertise that we like to portray to our customers. So Stephanie, you have any closing words of wisdom for us?
I think the biggest thing this weekend is just make sure, let it be a teaching opportunity, because a lot of these people coming in here are going to be nervous. They can be nervous of feeling overwhelmed. They might see all these people and see their beautiful containers and nervous is theirs gonna look like that. But teach them, just take it as a teaching opportunity, because the more they feel confident with those containers and those tips, just like with this one right here, I love the tip of opening them up, and you can tell them just like that, hey, I have a secret for you. And you can tell your friends or you cannot tell your friends. They might want it to be their little secret of how they got this awesome top about breaking it open. But those are just some great tips. And then remember, 10 seconds per gallon, okay? And then watch it as it dries out.
Yep.
Anything else?
Just have fun, guys. This Container Fest is huge, and we wanted to get it bigger. We want to take this nationwide, and we got to have the experts in place. This is why we put this little training video together for you guys. We want you guys to feel confident going into the Container Fest, so that that portrays out to the customers, and they know that ProGrow is by far the very best of the best that's out there in the industry. So thank you for your time, and keep gardening. We appreciate everything that you do for us, and we look forward to seeing you guys this weekend.
And don't forget, #ContainerFest 2019. Encourage them to share. You can send us pictures that you have too, and we'll spotlight those. But we are so grateful for all of you for helping us make this an amazing event.
Alrighty, guys. Bye.
Good luck.